Hello everyone, welcome back to Study Tips for IGCSE Mathematics. Today's topic is related to fractions. Without further delay, let's begin with the topics. Equivalent fraction. A fraction is part of a whole number. Common fractions, also called vulgar fractions, are written in a forms of a minus b. The number on the top, a, can be any number and is called the numerator. And the number on the bottom, b, can be any number except 0 and is called the denominator. The numerator and the denominator are separated by a horizontal line. If you multiply or divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, the new fraction still represents the same amount of the whole as the original fractions. So the new fraction is known as equivalent fraction. Example given here, 3 over 15. 3 over 15, you have to find the value that can be divided with no decimal point. So in this case, the lowest multiplied is 3. So 3 divided by 3 is equivalent to 1 and 15 divided by 3 is equivalent to 5. So the answer for question A is 1 over 5. Let's look at the question number B, 16 over 24. It's also the same concept where you have to find the lowest number and can be divided without decimal point. So in this case, 8 can be divided by 16 and 24 also can be divided by 8. So 16 divided by 8 is equivalent to 2 and 24 divided by 8 is equivalent to 3. So the answer for question B is 2 over 3. And example C, 21 over 28. Okay, so if you look at the numbers, 7 is the most suitable number, which can be divided by 21 and also 28. So 21 divided by 7 and 28 divided by 7. So the answer is 3 over 4. And finally, you have the equivalent fractions is 5 over 8. So 5 over 8 is already in the simplest form. So you can't find any number which can be divided by both numerator and denominator. Operation on fraction. Operation on fractions, when multiplying two or more fractions together, you can simply multiply the numerator and then multiply the denominator. Sometimes you will then need to simplify your answer. It can be faster to cancel the fractions before you multiply. So for this example, 3 over 4 multiplied by 2 over 7. So first, you have to multiply the numerator to get the new numerator values. Then extract fractions to its simplest form. For example, 6. 6, that means divided by 3, divided by 2. So 6 divided by 2, you might get the answer is 3. And 28 divided by 2, you might get the answer is 14. So as a result, from the question A, you might get the answers to the simplest fraction forms is 3 over 14. And let's look at the B example. 5 over 7 multiplied by 3. 15, 5 times 3 is equal to 15 and 7 times 1 is equal to 7. 15 and 7 do not have common factors. Let's look some of the example regarding adding and subtracting fractions. A, 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4. First of all, what you need to find is you have to find common denominator. So in this case, we can see is 4. Why 4? Because 2 can times by 2 is equivalent to 4, and 4 times 1 is equal to 4. So we can say that the lowest common multiple of 2 and 4 is 4. So use this common denominator and find equivalent fractions. So the answer is 2 over 4 plus 1 over 4 is equivalent to 3 over 4. And B, 3 over 4 plus 5 over 6. So you have to find common denominator. So the lowest common multiply of 2 and 4 is also 4. So use this common denominator to find equivalent fractions. So 4 can multiply by 3 to get 12. And 6 multiplied by 2 can get the lowest common multiples is 12. So 9 plus 10 is equal to 19 and 19 over 12. And finally, 2, 3 over 4 divide minus 15 over 7. First, you have to multiply 4 times 2 is equal to 8. 8 plus 3 equals to 11. That's why you got 11 over 4 minus 15 over 7. So in this case, the lowest common multiples of 2 and 4 is 28. So use this common denominator to find equivalent fractions. So the lowest common multiple is 28. So 28 divided by 4 equals to 7. So 7 multiplied by 11 equals to 77. So in this case, 7 times 4 is equals to 28, and and 28 and 28 times 2 is equal to 48. So 77 over 28 minus 48 over 28 is equal to 29 over 28, and you break up to the lowest common multiple, to the lowest fractions, you can get 1 over 28. This is not 15, just to correct, it's 1, 5 over 7. So 7 times 1 and plus 5 is equal to 12 over 7. Okay, dividing fractions. Dividing fractions, this is some of the example of dividing fractions. It's very easy. If you can see question number A, 3 over 4 divide 1 over 2. So 3 over 4 multiply. When you want to change the symbol from divide to multiply, so 1 over 2 will become 2 over 1. So when you cross the function, so you might get the answer is 3 over 2, and the lowest you can break the fractions, you can get the answer is 1 over 2. And B, 3 over 4 divide by 2, 1 over 3. So when you break up to the nearest fraction, 7 over 4 divide 7 over 3. So when you want to change a symbol to divide to multiply, it becomes 7 over 4 multiply 3 over 7. And the answer is 21 over 28. And then you can, when you see the 21 over 28, this value can be divided by 7. So if 21 divided by 7, you get the 3. And 28 divided by 7, you get the answer is 4. So the overall answer for question number B is 3 over 4. And finally, 5 over 8 divided by 2 over 1. So as I said, from the divide, you want to change it to multiply. So it's become 5 over 8 multiply 1 over 2. So the answer is 5 over 16. And finally, let's look into some of the example regarding percentage, which can be converted into a decimal by dividing by 100. Okay, percentage. Percentage is a fraction with a denominator of 100. And the symbol used to represent percentage is 0/0. Okay, so for the equivalent forms, let's look for example how to convert it into a decimal by dividing by 100. For example, 25%. The way to write it is to write as a fractions with a denominator of 100. So you have 25/100. So then when you simplify, 25 can be divided by 25 and 100 can be divided by 25. So the answer for question A is 1/4. And let's look for example for question B, 30%. 30% that when you want to write a fractions with a denominator, it becomes 30/100. And when you simplify it, it becomes 3/10. And same thing goes to question number C, which is 3.5%, which is when you write a fractions with a denominator, it becomes 3.5 divided by 100. And when you want to remove the decimal here, you have to multiply by 10. And also the denominator also you have to multiply by 10. That's why you get the answer is 35/1000. So when you simplify this 35/1000, so 35 can be divided by 5. The same thing goes to 1000 can be divided by 5. So as a result for this answer, this question, you might get 7/200. Okay, let's look for the example calculating using standard form. Solve and give your answer in a standard form. When you have this kind of question, for example, like in bracket 3 times 10 to the power of 5, close bracket, and multiply by 2 times 10 to the power of 6. What you have to do is, or you have to simplify it. So you have to break up 3 multiply by 2 in one bracket and multiply by 10 to the power of 5 multiplied by 10 to the power of 6. Okay, and then you have 3 multiplied by 2 is equivalent to 6 and times open bracket 10 5 plus 6 because it's the same values here. 10 multiplied by 5 times 10 multiplied by 10 to the power of 6. So 5 plus 6 is equivalent to 10 to the power of 11. So the answer should be 6 times 10 to the power of 11. I think I have covered all under topics fractions. That's all for today's lecture. Thank you very much.